Okay, so this, we're working on lab 27.9 right now, and we're looking at deploying an application to a cluster. Okay, now the best practice is to, it's not really to use the command line for Kubernetes deployment or operations. Okay, we use the command line to probe on the resources, to find out what's going on, with the resources behind our Kubernetes. But most of the time, the common practice is to use the manifests. Okay, what I mean by manifest, we use a deployment file, okay, to create deployment, and a service file to expose that deployment to the outside world. Okay, so most of the time, if you're dealing with Kubernetes, you'll be seeing these two pieces. Okay, a deployment file and a service file. There are other, config files that you make reference to, but these are the main ones. You must get a deployment file, okay, which would, create the resource, a deployment, or will I say declarative type of, deployment, and our service file, which will expose that deployment. Okay, so for this particular lab, we are going to use this deployment file here. Okay, you see the kind of deployments. Okay, the name is deploy1, and we are giving it a label, app v1. Okay, all right. So this is the name, unique name that this deployment is known throughout the Kubernetes ecosystem. Okay, and then within that, it has a label. All right, we give it another label, app v1. Okay, and now we are specifying give us 3 ports. Okay, for this deployment. All right, and then selector label. The selector label helps us, to reference the deployments. Okay, we'll see where this comes in play later. If you want to, if you can have multiple deployments. All right, and then which one now do you want to, to make reference to? You can use this one to like switch deployment. We'll see where that plays in. Okay, and then this part talks about the node affinity. You don't need to worry about these aspects. Okay, this here just talks about the processor, like the engine that will be behind the Kubernetes working. Okay, but the most important part, all right, is this aspect here. Okay, the image. All right, this is what would actually run within those pods. Okay, this is what we'll actually deploy, and it will open up port 8080. Okay, so I would go into my terminal. All right, I'll be using K3S for this particular lab. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and do VI. I'll use this file name, demo001.yaml. Okay, and then I'll just copy this manifest. In here. Okay, now you need to make some changes to the image. Okay, this is not the image you should use. All right, so I'll delete this image, is no longer valid. All right, but it's been in the blog, perhaps can be updated. But if you go over to your Jira, okay, if you go over to your Jira, if you go over to all issues and go to links, videos, Docker image, all right, you see some images that you can use. All right, you see this one, this image, Prince X, blue green, the one, let me see the other images here. Okay, cool, yes. So you can use this image here. Okay, so I'll just copy this image, right? And then I'll place it right here. All right, so probably if you've done it before and it doesn't work, that's the reason why. Okay, so I'm just going to save this. Okay, so I have my deployment file. Okay, the next thing I need also is my service file. All right, I need my service file. So I'll just create my service file. I'll call it service app 001. Okay. My service file defines how my deployment is exposed to the outside world. Okay. So I'll come here and I'll just get my service file. All right. Very straightforward. All right. The way it's defined, the unique name SVC1. It has a label app VC1. And is open in ports 8080 and using port 32,000. Okay. And type is NodePort. Okay. Now, your deployment can be two things. It can be NodePort or load balancer. Okay. It can be either NodePort or load balancer. So here, our deployment, our service file is a NodePort. Okay. So I'll just copy this. Okay, so I'll just copy this, all right, and paste it in here, all right. So, this is where it's referencing. You see the selector, okay, is referencing this selector is creating a service and it is referencing our deployment. It's telling Kubernetes expose our deployments that we have right here. You see this deployment here. What did we call it? Selector label, app v1. Okay, so we can have several deployments, but which particular one is being exposed to our service? All right, so that's where it specifies the deployment type. Okay, so I'll just save this. Okay, and this type is NodePort. I'll save this, colon WQ exclamation. All right, now the next thing is to create our deployment. So you can use kubectl apply or kubectl create. Okay, apply that F, and then I'll do my demo 001. I'm creating my deployments. All right. So it says here permission denied. So what I'll just do is I'll just do sudo su. Okay, and switch to it. All right. And then I would do it. Okay. kubectl apply -f demo. Okay. So yeah. So there are some definitions within my YAML file that will be deprecated. Okay. It says I should use something else, but that's fine. Okay. It still created it. Okay. What you look at here is this. Okay. It created my deployment. Okay. Deployment name is called deploy1. All right. So let's run my service file. Okay. So as it has run the deployment file, I could do kubectl get pods. Okay. -oy. And it gives me.
That's because you entered is 0 instead of an O.
Okay, yes, sorry. -oy. Okay, okay. Okay, I remember I had this one earlier. Okay, but this is my deployment here. These three.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are my deployments. Okay.
Yeah.
These are my deployments. I have three pods running. Okay. They're running, I think they're running on the same node. Okay, because I'm getting the same, but the pod IPs are different. Okay, as you can see. Okay, so I have my deployment. If I do kubectl get deployment, you show me all the deployment I have. So this is my deploy1. Okay. Now I want to expose that's my deployment. Okay, I have to now run the service file. Okay, kubectl apply service, okay, and it has created my service file. Okay, so if I now do kubectl get, okay, service or SVC, okay, these are my service. See, this is my service.
Yeah.
Okay, SVC, and it is NodePort. All right, and it is listening on port 32,000 on the node. Okay, on port 32,000. All right, so let's take a look at the blog, whether there's any other thing else. Okay.
No.
So what you do next is you go and open that port 32,000 on the node. Okay, on the node. If you're doing on the cluster, just pick any node on the cluster, open port 32,000, and then once you put the IP address there with that port, we are going to see the application running. Okay, so let me go over to okay, go to my AWS. Okay, instances. So I'm running this on my K3S. Okay, so this is my K3S. I'm going to open port 32,000. Okay, so this is the one I did for my load balancer. I'll do for my NodePort 32, 1, 2, 3, and anywhere, and then I'll save. Okay, then I'll go to the IP address. Okay, it's still running everyone. Let's get the IP address. Okay, and then if I come over here and then put ports 32, 1, 2, 3. This is the application running on my NodePorts.
Okay.
Okay, so I've exposed the application, all right, as a service using the manifest. Do you have any question on this? Pretty straightforward, right?
Oh, it's pretty straightforward as long as the image is right.
Yes, yes, yes. So the challenge I guess you had was the image.
Yes.
All right, so let's take a look at the rest of the.
So, and I think it's the same process for the blue-green stuff. So if this works, the blue-green one too should work.
Yes, the blue-green one should work. Yeah, it should work. Okay, so now you can change it from a NodePort to a load balancer. All right, if you want the load balancer. Okay, you can change it from a NodePort to a load balancer. But my K3S does not have the ability to give me a load balancer. Okay, if I'm going to do this one, I think I'll have to create my EKS and run this one on my load balancer. Okay, so I have to just give me a while to do that. I'll just come here. This is my my EKS. I've deleted my cluster. Okay, let me create my cluster again. It will take about 20 minutes. Let me just use this history. So I'll just use this command. Yeah, it's going to create my cluster again. All right. Okay, I'll wait for this cluster to complete. So I'm going to pause this record. All right, so let's do another type of service for load balancer, but this time I'm going to do it in my EKS, okay, because EKS has the ability to create load balancer for me. Okay, so what I'll do first is I'll create a deployment. Okay, I don't have a deployment in my EKS environment. Okay, so I did it in my K3S. So I'm doing it again. All right. And then I'll just copy and paste this. Okay. All right. So let me do cube CTL apply. Okay. Dash F. So I've created this. I've created the deployment. So if I do cube CTL get deployment, it will show me. Okay, I didn't spell it well. Oh shit, okay. See here. All right, so I have the deployment, it's called deploy 1, okay, 3/3. All right, meaning it's not yet 0 all over 3. It's not yet up yet. Okay, it's not yet up. So from these 3 services, all right, none of them is up. Okay, 0/3, it's supposed to be 3 out of 3. All right, so if I do cube CTL get pods, all right, so there's an error pulling the image. Okay, all right, so remember the issue we had. I need to update this. Okay, update the image. That's where the error is. The image doesn't exist anymore, so I'm going to use this image I have here. Oh shit, okay, yeah. I'll use this image here. That's the issue. All right. Save. All right. Then I will apply it again. Right. I'll do kubectl apply. One more time. It will update that. Okay. So if I do kubectl get pod, right? See, it's trying to come up. Right. 1/1. Let's continue. Oh, the second one is up. Okay. Let's wait for the third one. 3 are up. All right. If I do kubectl get deployments, okay, deploy 1, 3/3. All right, that's good. Okay, and let's go back to. So the name of my deployment is deploy 1. All right, that's the name of my deployment. Okay, so now let's create a service. Okay, remember the first one we did was for NodePort, right? Now we are going to do load balancer. Okay, what we are just going to do is we are going to change NodePorts to load balancer. All right. So I'll just come over here. I will do VI. Let me just say serve.yml. Okay. And then I paste it in here. Okay, I'll change that NodePort to load balancer. Okay, let me make sure that I get it right. Load balancer. Okay, I change the NodePort to load balancer. Okay. So I save this. All right. Then I'll do my kubectl apply -f serve YAML. Okay, so it has created my service. All right. So if I do kubectl get service svc, okay, you see my service one, which is load balancer, and I can get it from this link. Okay, so this is the load balancer that was created for me in Amazon. Okay, EKS has the ability to create load balancer for you. So if I go to my browser with this, let's give it a while. Okay, so it's communicating 8080, 8080. Let me see, if we add 8080 here.
I thought it was open on port 32,000.
Sorry, that should be 32,000, yes. Okay, let's see 32,000 here. Yeah, still not popping up.
Why not just use the IP?
Yeah, if you're using the IP address. Okay, so this is supposed to be a load balancer that was created for us on AWS. All right, so if you go, or maybe still trying to come up, I don't know. Still trying to come up, or it should be ready. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Let's go to our AWS. Okay, if you go to our AWS, you're gonna see. All right, so there's no load balancer here. So where did it create our load balancer? Just popped up. Okay, so I guess it's still provisioning. Let's see if it'll pop up. Okay, reload. Yeah, we don't need this 32,000 because it should be already pre-configured to that.
Port.
Yes. It is trying to get something, but you know, something's listening there. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to I think I already have 32,000 open here, so that's not. So
What's an elastic IP?
yeah, elastic IP is a fixed IP. Okay, it's a fixed IP for my cluster. So you know, this is why one of the reasons why your EKS is kind of expensive, because you know it creates some extra, you know, some extra create some extra resources that are actually expensive. one like Elastic IP. 2000. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I will go over to, let me open this ports. Okay, let me open this ports. Let's pick a node. Let me add 32,000 to it. Okay, then let's see. Let me look at the load balancer that was created. So it did create a load balancer. But why is it not receiving traffic as it should? So I need to figure that out. So if I go into listeners here, so it's pulling load balancer port 8080, instance port 32,000. So port 8080 on the load balancer. Type 8080. Yeah. Okay. So that was it. So I think what I need to add here is, all right, if you're doing load balancing, okay, you need to make sure that, okay, load balancer, okay, you would specify, you're going to specify the ports, okay, on the load balancer. So 8080.
Yeah, so just looking at this now, because
Yes.
I've been wondering about this. So if you just scroll up, you see the node port. The node port there still says 32,000. So
yes.
I was wondering, so
yeah. On the node, okay, on the node, all right, if you get the IP address,
yeah,
let me see now. NodePort still says 32,000, meaning let's see if we can still access it on 32,000 with that IP address for one of the nodes. Because from the load balancer, yeah, so it's the definition on the instance. That's how you map the traffic. Let's see, 1 second. I just want to be sure. I may need to do some updates on this, my lab. So right here, based on this was created, it says here, the instance ports 32,000.
correct.
Balancer port 8080. Okay. Let's go here and pick one of the instances. I'm doing on EKS, right? So I just pick one of the instances. Copy this, and then let's put it right here. 32,122. Boom, it pops up. Okay, so from this service, all right, you can access the application via the node port or the load balancer based on our definition. Okay, if we didn't have any entry for the load balancer, then if we didn't have this, if we didn't have any entry for node ports,
yeah,
then we're not going to get any. But this kind of does the port mapping from the node, okay, to the load balancer.
So can we try something else?
Yes.
We use the same IP, okay, and enter 8080 as the port.
80 for this one?
No, I mean 88. We know that.
Okay, the same IP. No, it's not. It's not going to work. All right, I'll show you why. It's not going to work. Okay, because this has nothing to do with the. This has nothing to do with the. This has nothing to do with the. This has nothing to do with the node. Okay, let's find out. All right. So there's nothing to. So this is the IP address. Okay, another of the instance. That's what you mean, right?
Yes.
Another of the node. Okay, let's pick this one. All right. And let's do. But if that will work in theory, you have to open that port, right?
I would think that port was already. Anyways, it's open on mine, so I just leave it. Okay, it's not open on yours.
So you tried it? Did it work?
No, I didn't do EKS because I just did not want to.
Okay, you're using. Okay, all right. Okay, so we've opened that. So let's go. Let's click here. And then I'll put 8080. Yeah, it's not gonna work.
Okay.
Yes. Now see, okay, your service, all right, the way it works, okay, if you look at the definition here, all right, for your service, the type, okay, determines see here the type, okay. If your type is load balancer, okay, it means that you would likely be listening on these ports on your load balancer. Okay, but this is your node port definition, and this is standard, even if your type is node port. Right, your node port definition would be is the same. All right. Let's take a look at some. There's something I was trying to show you guys earlier in the class. Where is this? The APIs. Okay, good. So this, okay, so this is Kubernetes documentation. If you want to create your manifest, all right, this is like a good guide. All right, it explains some of the parameters that you see. Okay, like when you in your pod manifest, okay, you see a kind pod. All right, so if you want to create a pod, like you see, if you want to create a pod, you put a kind pod. All right, then the next thing is your metadata definition, and then the next is your pod specification. Okay, and then status. Okay, and then these are the different things you can do in terms of pods. Okay, if you want to define a volume, scheduling, affinity, and stuff like that. Okay, then for example, let's say we want to do want to create a service. All right, let me see.
But in the wild, though, isn't I thought the developers did all of these.
Well, it's a combined effort.
Yeah, they will give you the manifest and you go create it.
It's a combined effort, okay? Sometimes you work with the architect, you guys put heads together to find out, okay, what's going to work and stuff like that. Okay, but there's a template for everything. The key thing here is that there's a template for almost everything you want to do. Okay, so if you want to create a pod, template, replica set, deployment, okay, that's an example. So let's look at service. I think it should be service here. Service. I want to see if there's an example template. Okay, there's no template here for service. Okay, we are dealing with workloads. Let's see. Service resources. Okay. If you want to create a service, right? What are the different definitions? What's endpoint, ingress, class? Click on service. Let's go into detail. Okay. So the way services are defined, API version 1. Okay, that's the reason why in our manifest here, right, we have this service manifest, right? Kind is service API version 1. Okay, based off of the documentation. Okay, and then see it starts with kind is service API version 1, then metadata. All right, and then here, let's move this closer. And then here, metadata. Okay, so you define your metadata. All these things are under your metadata. Then after that, you have spec. Okay. So after that, you have spec. All right. So this will tell you how the different types of spec. Okay, spec is just the desired state. Okay, so under spec, you have selector. Okay, so if you come over here, you see spec. All right, there is selector. Selector is right here. All right, there's ports. All right. So if you come, so you see, where is my spec here? Okay, this is, right. So this is selector, this is ports. It tells you how to define what. All right, so what does your ports do? It maps unique key value. It maps, it kept doing a merge, patching, merge on key port, the list of ports that are exposed by this service. So it just depends on what ports will be open. Either you are doing your node port or you are doing your load balancer. Which ports they'll be listening on. Okay, this has nothing to do with your container now. Your container is defined within your deployment. Now, this one is defined on your within your service. Okay, so this is for ports. Then after ports, it's all about ports. Okay, ports. Now there is node ports, under ports. Okay, the port on each node on which this service is exposed, when type is node ports or load balancer. Usually assigned by the system. If a value is specific in range and not in use, it will be used. Otherwise, okay, so this is just telling you about that particular and what type of string it is. And there's a lot of things that you can add within your ports, okay? Let's see what else. Let's see type. Okay, so see type. So type can be, okay, the type determines how the service is exposed. The defaults to cluster IP, valid options are external name, cluster IP, node ports, and load balancer. Okay, so these are the two most popular. Either use node port or use a load balancer. Okay, now cluster IP allocates a cluster IP, internal IP address for load balancing. Okay, and the endpoints are usually determined by the selector. So these are a lot of networking things you can do or play around with it. Okay, so here you can see the different networking concepts if you want to look at some more things. Okay, so there's really, the most important thing here is just understand the concepts and be able to interpret some of the key values that are within the manifest. You don't have to cram any manifest. If you're dealing with maybe tools like OpenShift, if you want to create any manifest, it will help you create. If you want to create a service file, just generate a template for you. There are templates that you can pick up stuff from. Okay. So for this case, the reason why our load balancer did not work is we didn't interpret it properly. Okay, so from here, from what you're seeing, our load balancer is listening on port 8080. Okay, but NodePort is 32,000. All right, so let's switch it for NodePort on this and see what it gives us. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, let's do a switch on NodePort. All right, let's change the service. Okay, we'll change this to NodePort. NodePort. Okay, we'll change it to NodePort. Let's sure I got the spelling right. Yeah. Okay, I'll just change it to NodePort. Okay, so we'll be expecting it to listen here. All right. And then if you now do kubectl apply the service, it will configure it again. Now, if I remember when I did get service, this is what I got before, right?
Yeah.
I got this before. Now let me do get service again. kubectl get svc. Right now, notice you see it's a little bit different. All right. Node ports. All right. The mapping is still there. All right, 8080 routing to 32,000. Okay, so if I have a load balancer, all right, I'm going to have an external IP. Okay, so that external IP is what is mapping to 8080. Okay, outside that, I'll just be communicating from my node ports, 32,000. Does it make sense now?
Yeah.
Okay, so this mapping you see here, all right, this first one is for the external IP, all right, and this one is for the node, all right. The external IP in terms of if you have a load balancer in place, okay, then you use it, okay. But now, if you're doing K3S and you're doing load balancing, all right, this you still communicate. You have to communicate from here, from the node port parts.
Yes, that's true.
Yes, because you don't have an external service for your load balance. Okay, but you see here, it says here the type is node ports, right? And here type is load balancer. Okay, and then if you want to access the service, you just use this. You use the node port IP, any node ports, because is networking is within a cluster, right? So it's routing traffic through anyone that is making requests, all right? So you use any IP of your node ports, 32,000, and then you get the application. Okay, I think this does justice to this lab.
Oh yeah, this one is fine.
Yeah, the only thing I will update here is for the load balancing. Okay, get the load balancer and put the ports 8 right here, and that would fix it. Okay.
Yeah.
So I would stop this recording here.